What's going on, everybody? We are live. We are live. We are live. Mickey D's. Yes, sir. Mr. Jig Man back in the house. Yes, sir. Austin. Man, we got some good stuff today. I was supposed to have talked about something last week that I didn't make it to. Roy Dale, what's up, buddy? And we're gonna get to it today. Check this dude. Check this dude out. Road hog in the house. Tell me you've been out there on them crappie, man. Tell me you've been on them crappie. Good seeing you, man. Local guy from down home. Gene, how's it going, buddy? Eric Pierce back in the house. Yes, sir. Gene, how's it going? Good evening to you and everybody else. Super Dave's back in the house. Good dude right there, y'all. Rod Hall. Sid Lewis back in the house. Madison, Mississippi. Yes, sir. Thurston T. Like I was saying, we were supposed to talk about something that a lot of people overlooked last week. I want to wait until we get the other guys in, but we're going to talk about trailer maintenance. And that's just a small portion of what we got for today. And but we got a guy that most of you probably already know. He hit a fish over 3 pounds. I think last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. And I want to bring him on, and hopefully he can give us some light. Because hey, I'm gonna tell you now, I'm still learning about these big fish and what makes them tick, the areas they hold in. That's all good stuff to talk about. And it's like I always say, I find my better fish on those solitary stumps out there, small structure. They seem to prefer that. They don't hang in the, from what I've seen, they don't hang in the big schools like schooling fish. They're sort of loners. Tony Cole, what's going on, man? Super Dave, Ohio, what's going on? Chat Jock in the house. Chuck Adams, what's going on? Yeah, man. Hey, Gene, let me tell you, it's getting close. It's itching me. I had to go and check on them. They're not all the way ready, but I still got on a few good ones out there. And it's like I always say, I'm not sitting around waiting on somebody to say, hey, they're bedded up. I did a lot of riding that day, and I found a few beds that you could tell the fish had been on. But with that 66 degree, that's as high as the temperature got up until I had left. I left pretty early, and that's just not, it's just not warm enough for those gills to be highly active from what I've seen on that particular lake. Trip, what's going on, man? That's cool. 11-year-old. Hey, that's great to have your kids. Hey, I'm gonna tell you this: take them fishing every chance you get, man. Because I'm gonna tell you that time that they are there with you and available to go with you, it flies by like that. So every chance you get to take your kids out, hey, have them on the boat, have them on the bank, wherever you go, have them with you. Because once they hit that age to where they want to venture out, that time really becomes limited, especially when they get out on their own and got to make a living for themselves. So spend as much time while they're home with them as possible. And if you embed that fishing into them, they'll do it for life. That's just like right now. My boys, they fish during the week, but I'm out of town during the week. So we don't get to, and then on the weekends, most of the time they work on the weekends also. So that's when I'm home. Redney, what's going on, man? Larry McBride, Bull Shows. How the fish treating you over there, Larry? Texas Crappie Assassin. Another Conroe fisherman. Jay Fox, Tennessee back in the house. Bud Crisco. What's going on, Cornell? Gene, glad to be back. Yes, sir. Robert Shepard, how's it going? Alabama in the house. North Alabama. That's awesome. Hey, we're going to announce the winners from the last week giveaway here shortly. It's like I said, I want to wait until the other guys get in. They're not on yet. Kevin, checking out the channel for the first time. Welcome. We are going to, after the shout outs, we're going to get on some good stuff to help you catch more and bigger crappie. And it's getting time for those bluegill and shellcracker or red ear. Depends on where you at. That's what they're called. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't chase those fish, let me tell you, they'll blast. And they eat on the table. They're as good as crappie, if not better, in my opinion. Black Rain in the house. Who else we got here? A1 Fishing Family. All right. Alex. Look at here. Look at here. Mr. Leslie Thomas. Mike Bryant. Another Conroe fisherman. What's going on, Mike? Man, it's awfully good to see you. Ford's back in the house. Chris Roan. Yes, sir. Hey, man, me and you need to meet up. I got a package for you in my truck. And I hope you'll allow us to meet up. That way I don't have to pay that money to ship it to you, since we've both fished the same lake. Greg Smith from Pasadena, Texas. Yes, sir. Mr. James Womack. How's it going, brother? Broderick, what's going on, man? What are key things to look for or ask when buying used boats, fiberglass or aluminum? First thing, the most important thing that I feel when dealing with any kind of boat is make sure it has a clear title. Boat, motor, and trailer. Because if you're missing either of those three, it is very, very unlikely you'll be able to get either of those registered without a clear title. That is the most important thing. I know several guys that have thought they got some very good deals on boats, but they end up scrapping them because they have gotten really strict on that right now. Transom. Get the motor checked out by a qualified mechanic. That's very important. Nothing worse than to buy a boat and then have to spend a ton of money on a motor. Same as with the floor. Several things that you want to check. I'm in the market right now for a bass boat. I'm not in a big hurry, especially not right now, because the prices of boats is through the roof. But that's coming soon, because I will be joining the big boy tournaments coming up, and I just need more speed, and I need to be able to fish more areas than I can in my dorsal. It's like I've been telling everybody that I've been talking to about it. Man, it sure feels good to have a paid off boat. Man, it's been paid off for several years and runs great. My mechanic is so surprised at that old motor, that old 115. Johnson, I got on that thing. I mean, it just screams. It pushed that boat really well. But clear title, first thing, most important. You want to make sure it has a clear title, without a doubt. Trip. Gill catching machine. I hadn't proved that just yet, but it's coming. It's a lot of fun chasing those fish. JLD. Yeah, Mike, I'll tell you what, man. I really enjoy. You guys hadn't met my oldest son yet. And let me tell you guys something. These boys are some go-getters on these crappie. They know what they're doing. They know what the field, all of it. Great crappie fisherman. And I got a grandson that's really on his dad right now to get on the boat. So it's coming. Y'all gonna have some really good stuff coming up. With I'm thinking I'm gonna have both my sons and my grandson on the boat. It's coming. Cold front coming through here next 3 days. 30. Wow. Lows in the 30s. Wow, that's gonna make some changes. Uh, if you're on fish, I will say I wouldn't leave until they showed me that they were gone, and they're just gonna back out. If they do anything, they'll just back out. And it's like I say all the time. Those crappie, they love cold water. They love it. Slick's in the house. What's going on, man? Man, I hope that chat we had the other day helped you out. Uh, we may talk about that too tonight. Jig colors. If somebody will remind me when these other guys get on, I know we talk about it just about every live, but it's always good to hear from different people, different guys' perspective on jig colors, because there's a lot of guys that got Livescope that feel color is not really important. And it's a big difference between the two, because it's a difference when you're having to attract a fish. If you don't have Livescope, you got to attract that fish, and you may have to draw them from 2 or 3 feet. So that's why I always say scent and color is critical. Now, if you have Livescope, it may be something a little different, because you can get that jig, inches from that fish's mouth, which more than likely he may hit. All right, y'all, give me just a second. I got to send a link that I could swear I already sent. Let me check something here real quick. But let me tell you, jig color, regardless of whether you have Livescope or not, is very important. Steve, if you're watching, hey, check your email. Oh, nope. Wait a minute. I'm sending it to the wrong Steve. There we go. Now I can send it. Ain't that something, y'all? I bet you that other Steve's probably saying, what is this dude sending me? I hadn't seen him in the chat, so he may not be on. Glenn! Gills are not quite ready. Yep, without a doubt. Hey, I still had to go check. I might go to my other lake that has a good quality of those copper nose. It has a Shellcracker in it also, but they've been hiding from me here lately. I got on them really good probably 4 years ago, but they've been hiding really well from me. But that's my main target. I do love those copper nose, catching them. They put up a great fight, and the lake I was on this past weekend, it has more native bluegill. They got really thick. They don't have, they are not real tall, but they get really thick, and you get some nice fillets off those fish. And it has a lot of a good amount of Shellcracker in it also. I see. I got Steve in finally. Let me get him joined real quick.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Oh, not too bad. How about for yourself?
Good. Good night.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Rankin say got a lot of rain on Ross Barnett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those fish still gonna eat though.
Oh yeah. Yep. Just gotta find where they moved.
Without a doubt. So I was letting everybody know, me and you had talked about trailer maintenance and sharing what we know.
Yeah. I've had a trailer problem the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got your earbuds?
Oh man, let me go try to find them.
Okay, because you cutting out.
Okay.
Yeah, if we talk at the same time, you cut out a little bit.
Okay.
What about water temp? I can't talk about the water temp right now, Gene, until after I do that that giveaway on that video. I've been telling everybody that their temp that they've been posting was a great temp, so I want to leave it at that until we do the giveaway. But there is a tip. If you really want to know, I put a link up in that video that you can watch. And well, just about all of my bluegill videos, especially the ones I hit on the early season, I discussed because I'm gonna tell you, I get out there early, and the water temp is not always where it needs to be when I get there. So I talk about it a lot. Hey, one, see it. Talking to Bud. Bill's in the house. What's going on, buddy? I'm not gonna let y'all get way ahead of me today on these comments. I was swamped last week. I couldn't get caught up for anything. I was on fire with the micro fire tiger square bill. Hey, I tell you what, those small baits. Hey, Ohio, you were the one fish asking questions about that river, right? Where did you find those fish? Let me know where you found those fish at, man, because I'm really curious. I was hoping that you found some eddies and it worked out for you. Damien, found you. I'm present. Awesome. Donna, PA. Okay, Chris. Yeah, if you will. Cool. Slab Busters in the house. All right. Almost the hey, you gotta have that honeydew list done, Austin. Hey, that's the only way. And then got to work on my boat and trailer. Yeah, I got to have that trailer right also. Now, a lot of people don't understand that those trailers are as important as the boat, motor, your tackle, your lures, where you fish, how you fish. All of that stuff is very important. That trailer deals with your safety, which is at the very top of the list, although it don't get talked about a lot. And we want to discuss that tonight. I made those of you that has followed me for a while know that I don't know, back at 18, I think I had a new trailer made for my Dodgel, and I went with torsion axles, and I get 5 years out of those axles before I got to do anything. But now when it's time to service them, I have to take it back to the shop to get it serviced. Angelo, what's going on, buddy? This is a guy from down home, and he's just getting into boating, and I've been working with him to get him squared up on what he needs to be doing. And Angelo, I'm gonna talk about that a little bit tonight too, because it's a great topic to discuss. You know, I know a lot of guys that I've talked to over the years want to jump out here and buy a boat and think you just get on the water on a boat without putting that time in. See, it's critical because you can follow somebody to a couple spots, but it's like I say, you got to have several spots to be successful. Oh, wait a minute now.
I know. I'll show that later.
Uh-oh. I know we got some interest in what you just held up.
It was just a sneak peek.
George Baker in the house. North Arkansas in the SK boat. Good evening from.
You talk about trailer maintenance yet or not yet?
I touched it. I said we were going to talk about it, but I hadn't dove in. I just talked about the trailer that I have.
Okay.
But I hadn't talked about the traditional bearing trailer, bearing axles, and that's what most people probably have.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what. Let me scan through these. Look at here. We got old Sakalay Pat.
All right.
In the chat. I'm gonna skip over some of these comments, guys, but don't think that comment is not appreciated. Make sure I don't have any questions right here.
Southeast Arkansas. All right. Robert Johnson.
Yeah. It's cool seeing people from different states, man. It's so cool. Chris Roan. Oh, Robinson, excuse me. Coosey Robinson, excuse me. I'm so sorry about that. I got 5 things going on at one time. What's going on, SKIU? Was using those tadpoles, and they was driving those big male, black male crappies and big, shellcracker too.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's good. Yep.
Awesome.
What color? Just curious.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Squiddo, let me tell you, that Lake Houston is an awesome crappie lake. Yeah. It can be tough, but it is a really good quality crappie lake. And if you put the time in, and it will make you work though. Yeah. I will say that those fish, rarely do I catch them over 15 feet. Actually, rarely do I catch them over 12 feet.
Right.
But here lately, with the lake being as green as it's been, and I mean clear green, those fish have been deeper. So there are some spots that I've been doing really well in 20, 25 foot of water, but that's midsummer, late summer. But that's what makes it so tough, because if you got any strong winds and waves slapping up against your boat, man, it makes it really tough. Who else we got here? So I can go ahead and ASK. What we got here? Just asking Mike about how to hook up that 24. Okay. Oh, okay. Hey, don't let that 20. We can talk about that too, because it's not hard. 24 or 36 volt. You just have to wire it.
He's talking about trolling motor, how to wire it.
Yeah, for the 24 volt, the 2 batteries. Yeah. It's simple for that.
Yeah. Yep.
I can't give it yet. See, you gotta wait until I put out the results on the. But it's really close. I'm doing a giveaway on the guys that remember, or that will put the time in and go and watch that video and find out what that magic temp is, and I show it. Once that temp hit that temp, the fishing was on. About that time to fight them gators, you know it. Hey, I had a big one that was right. I mean, right there. It's amazing how big those gators get over there. I'm telling you, them things are 4 foot tall. It looks like when they're laying up on the bank. I mean, giants.
Damn.
Slap Doc back in the house. What's going on, buddy? Kim Barnett.
All right, what's Kim. Up? How's it going, Kim?
Mike say he's got to run. I know it's late for a lot of guys, but we still have a good. We over 100 already.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't need to break the bank on an expensive boat. Make sure the motor's good. You want to put the money in the electronics and a good trolling motor, without a doubt.
Exactly. That's what I did.
Socolate Bandit, what's going on? Oh, look at here. Look who we got back on. Mr. Jerry Roth. All looking right. And sounding good. Thank you. You can service them yourself. Are you talking about the torsion axles? I hadn't researched what all is entailed in the torsions. I just wanted it because I didn't want to have to pack bearings with me anymore. And as Steve mentioned before, he went just now to get his earbuds. He had some trouble here a couple weeks back.
Yep, got home and my whole wheel was gone. Yep, luckily I had a tandem axle. Didn't feel anything on the ride home.
Yeah, and luckily he didn't get home and watch the news and see that a tire flew through somebody's window.
Right.
And you were on the outside lane, and it was the right.
Yeah, it was the
passenger side. So that's always.
Yeah.
If it happens, that's the best way to have it happen. But one thing that when you have traditional bearing on your trailer, yearly, you need to open those hubs up and inspect your bearings.
Yep.
Inspect your races. If you got bearing buddies, which I highly advise, and what that is just a cap that goes over the outside of the hub, and it has a spring in it, so you can put quite a bit of grease in it, and it sort of self fills when it's required. And also, you want to make sure that your seals are good when you open those up on your annual inspection, because if the seals are bad, the grease you put in will get out of there a lot faster.
Yeah.
One thing that I did when I had my old trailer is every time I launched, I walk both sides and kick those tires and watch where it mounts on that hub. And you can tell me if you got some bearing issues that's coming, you'll see that hub give a good vibration right there. And those bearings, those tapered bearings that are in those traditional hubs, they go out, And I packed 4. They're not hard to change, but you will need, if you have a bearing go out, you will need a chisel, you will need a hammer, and you need a socket with the ratchet. And I just had that, and on the grease, it's like I was telling Steve earlier, is if I did have to use one of those bearings and open that grease up, I just buy another tube of grease to where I could keep it in my truck and it wouldn't smell up my truck. But it's always better to be prepared, especially if you have traditional bearings on your trailer.
Water is the worst enemy. That's worst number one enemy. Yep, water.
And you dunk it in water every trip to the lake.
And like I fish a lot by myself, so that trailer is actually in the water 3-4 times as long.
Awesome. Yeah, without a doubt, Steve. 256 Gville yesterday. What's Gville?
Gunnersville.
There you go.
Yep.
Wife turned around and caught a 204. Awesome.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Good stuff, man.
Yes, sir. It was me. I got on them at the slightest break in the current. The river went from 3 foot to 10 foot, and it was very rocky. They were holding in behind the rocks.
Okay.
Ohio, it works every time.
Yep.
You match an eddy in any current, a river system, a creek system that has current. You find some kind of structure, or even a creek bend. Like I was telling you, get behind that creek bend, and you will see that water is not just a straight flow. It'll have a slight rotation to it, and those fish, especially crappie, will get in there, and they'll congregate there, so they don't have to work so hard to hold their position.
We got a special guest gonna log in about a minute or two.
Awesome. That's what's up. Bill's hollering at you.
Hey, how's it going, Bill? You back in Dallas?
Eric. Hope you sent me some of those, Steve. Uh-oh.
Which ones?
Oh, what you held up.
Okay, let me do it before we get too far. Just got this yesterday. I won't be selling to next week, but if I got a list on orders, I'm trying to catch up. And if you're in that list, I'm gonna throw a couple in for you. But it's a new curly tail I got. It's a 1.75 inch little curly tail. And this thing is gonna be a killer. I did some chartreuse, some platinum. Yeah, that tail is gonna be, oh man. So yep. Then I have these steelhead hooks, ball head. These things, mustads. These things are like monsters. You can see that hook. It's a bean hook.
I tell you what, I got a vouch for that hook, man.
Yep.
That thing is a beast.
Yep. I have them in 1/32, 1/16, and 1/8.
You have to warn them, because if you just drop that jig down there and get snagged on something, let me tell you.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to be easy
Yep.
getting it out of
Yep.
there. It's not going to be easy. Eric, here's my email. If you would, he put a question up on the old core hummingbirds.
Okay.
But he said it's pretty detailed what he wants. So if you want to email me, or if any of you want to email me, man, it may take me a couple days to get back to you because I answer a lot of emails and text and plus all the other things I got going on in my life. But hey, if you give me a question, I promise you it will get answered. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but I will get back with you. And that's my email right there. Don't forget the S behind the K. It's the exact as my channel name is, SK's Crappie Catching Adventures at gmail.com. All right, back to the comments. So, Steve, how do you pack spare bearings with you?
Yeah, I used to pack spare bearings. Now what I do is I go to Northern Tool, and they always run them hubs on sale for $34. You get a whole hub, bearings pack, whole kit, and I keep one of them in my truck.
Awesome.
Yep. So the bearings, I think they were $4 or $5 each, and then the grease. So to me, I just keep that kit. It's sealed, and I can keep it right in the truck. And then, like you said, I have a screwdriver, a hammer, a chisel. I use an adjustable wrench. That way it fits everything. A pair of diagonal side cutters to get that cotter pin out.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do from now on, which I was bad at it, once a year, I'm just going to change all 4 of my hubs.
Yep.
Every January, I'm just going to do it on a rotational basis. So,
and I will say that if you fish and travel as much as you do,
yeah,
I would do the exact same thing. For somebody that just fish weekends and fish in their local lake, that inspection will probably get them by, and you may get 2 or 3 years out of those bearings, but every year I'd advise opening those hubs up and inspecting them.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, and I think they're less than $40 each. I think I paid $150 something all 4, and it took me about an hour and a half, and I was taking my time, and I changed all my bearings and my hubs, and all new cotter pins,
Right.
And then I'll put the bearing buddies on, fill it up, and it's good. So also tires. You guys inspect your trailer tires,
Without a doubt.
I got a 2019 Dodge Ram, and I got 128,000 miles on it. So that tells you how much I go fishing.
Right.
Grenada, everywhere. Arkansas, Missouri, you know what I mean? Oklahoma all the time.
Yeah.
Which I'll probably be up there this weekend, Oklahoma.
Man, I wish I could travel like that. Hey, I see we got our special guest in here. Let me get him added. You guys that's commented, I'm gonna mention again. Don't think your comment is not appreciated, but I just want to keep up with tonight. I don't want to get way behind. I'm sort of way behind already. If you do have a question, put several question marks in it and in your comment, and I'll try to get your question answered. But right now, I want to add this guy, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
How's it going, man?
Can you hear us?
What's going on, gentlemen? How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Doing awesome. How about yourself?
Man, wonderful. Doing well. Really well.
Awesome.
Good.
Are you on your cell phone?
I am. Yeah.
Like, is it possible you could turn it sideways?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second.
Well, if any of you guys that follow Crappie guys don't know that bark, you hadn't been watching a lot of videos. You want to introduce yourself, sir?
Sure. Yes. My name is Kyron Washington. Sometimes they call me Slavador. But my name is Kyron Washington.
Awesome that you could join us, man. I heard you. First, I'm just gonna say congratulations to start off with, man. Welcome to the
Thank you,
club.
man. I
That
appreciate
was
it. Yes, sir.
that was an awesome fish that you caught, man. And fill us in on what you do.
Yeah. So, man, I fish. I fish as often as I can. That usually manifests in 6 days a week.
Wow.
5 to 6 days a week, I get to fish, and now I get to do it for a living. We abandoned corporate America to pursue after the thing that we were created to do, and that is to fish. So that's what I do. I fish. I get after them, particularly panfish. So I'm an advocate of the panfish, i.e., crappie, bluegill, red ear. I mean, anything panfish, Rio, it's going to be hard to miss me. I'm a huge fan of the panfish.
Awesome. Do when you mentioned bluegill, do you jig fish for those, or do you use crickets, or what's your preferred method to fish for those?
Yeah, so I've done it a variety of ways. I've caught them on crappie jigs, fishing just like I would fish for crappie. And interestingly enough, they thump it just like a crappie would thump it, at times, just depending on the mood of the fish. But right now, we try to keep it simple, keep it basic, and we run night crawlers, really small red wigglers.
Right.
That's kind of how we get after them. The downside of a cricket is either when he bite it, you better get it.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
soft.
yeah. So you got one shot at it with that
Right.
cricket, red wiggler, or night crawler. Red wiggler in particular gives you quite a few opportunities, so that's why we go with that.
Awesome. Awesome. Now you mentioned that you fish 6 days a week.
Yes.
Are you guiding or?
Yeah, I do. I guide. So we got into guiding about 3 years ago, or we started the journey of guiding. Let me say that about 3 years ago. I knew it would take time because I didn't want to just do it. I wanted to do it great and do it very well. So, so the first year and a half of that, I spent most of it just scouting, and that was not fishing much at all. That was 8 to 10 hours a day, scanning lakes, from north to south, east to west, middle, just scanning it and combing those lakes for information. And that was, I run trips on 3 big lakes, and I've added a 4th lake this year. So it took a while to really make sense of fish movements. Not just, what I realize is, fishing for yourself is one thing,
Mhm.
but fishing for somebody else and putting somebody else on fish is a completely different animal. And so, you're in pursuit of those fish they will call guide fish, not
Right.
just individual fish that you can catch, but you want fish that would appeal to everybody. So that's a little bit of work.
You put out a mouthful right there, especially the part of before you really jumped into this, you went out and spent hours, days
Yes,
scanning. And I give that to the people that'll spend the time to watch anything that I put out. I always say it. I call it by putting that work in, and
yes,
it is a must to be good at crappie fishing. Um,
absolutely.
that time, and a lot of guys. I was talking a little while ago about it. Will grab a boat and they see us out there. They watch me and several other guys, Ken. You and Ken fish together a lot on video, and
Hmm.
we go out and it seems like we just drive up to a spot and slinging crappie in the boat, but it don't work like that. Uh,
No,
and it's always good to hear others mention that time is required to be good at catching crappie. And it's once you put that time in and get several spots, you can jump from spot to spot to spot and find those fish on some days fairly easy. But that's after
absolutely.
you put that time in. What you feel that's what has you as good as you are?
Well, yeah, there's no substitute for time on the water. And then just not time on the water, but you need to purpose your time on the water and really have an objective to your time on the water. So it's relative to what it is that you're trying to accomplish. For me, I wanted to guide. I didn't want to just be a pop-up, a fly-by-night type deal. I wanted to be a mainstay and do it for the rest of my life. So I had to lay a foundation for my business. As with any business venture, you got to put in the work. I mean, I realize we live in a microwave society, where people want to get it the fast way.
Right.
But there are some things that you just can't shortcut. Now, technology has enabled somewhat of a shortcut, but even in that, to be consistent day in, day out, 300 days a year, you got to put that time in. It's no way around that.
Without a doubt, and I totally agree. What all lakes are you guiding on, if you don't mind me asking?
No, it's fine. So prior to this year, I was running crappie charters on Lake Tawakoni, Lake Lavon, and Cedar Creek Lake. And then I run bluegill charters. I ran a few on Athens and then some on Fairfield.
Oh, okay.
Now I did pick up, and I've been kind of easing my way into it. Initially, my intrigue with Lake Fork was bluegill. Lake Fork, quiet as kept, has really big bluegill and red ear in it. I mean, humongous. Some up to 2 pounds. They have some really big red ear in it.
Wow.
So my fascination with it originally started with bluegill charters. I wanted to kind of get out and learn that water. It's an interesting layout on that lake. But as people would always ask me about running multi-species trips. Can we do both bluegill and crappie? And so none of the lakes that I fish really afforded that. And we all know Fork has incredible crappie fishing. And I thought it would be an opportunity to kind of appeal to some of those clients that wanted to do multi-species trips in a day. And so I started running a few crappie trips. I mean, I've had some experience on Fork, fishing tournaments and just kind of fishing it in leisure, but I thought to put a little bit more time in it. So just a little bit. I'm not full-blown Fork. It is not my first option, but I do run some crappie trips on Fork now. But it's just one of those things. Somebody says, I want to try to, best shot at getting a 2-pounder, 2.5 pound fish. Let's go to Fork,
Right.
So it's that kind of deal.
Yeah. So how did you get on your 3-pounder?
Man, the stars just aligned, and I'll be honest with you, they did. I actually had a trip booked that day, and I took it off the books because my supercharger, my engine went down, and my boat was down for about 2 weeks, and so I took everything off the books. And I had one that Monday, and I was like, well, man, I would hate to just go out here. That was the first day I had my boat back, and I would hate to go out here untested, So I told the guy, hey, listen, I'd like to at least get out, run my boat, make sure everything is sound. I don't want it to break down on the trip. I was being very honest with him. He said, man, I appreciate that. And so, we kind of rescheduled that. So I said, well, I'm just going to go out and run, and got out on Fork and ran. And first spot I pulled up to, I pulled up on a laydown, and I saw a really big fish swim off. Didn't pitch on that fish. It was kind of spooked off. I zoomed out to about 45 foot, and I saw, something in the crevice of a corner. And I was like, man, that's a fish, really bright. And I pulled up on it, and I was like, oh my God, that is a fish, So I pitched out, swung past it. First pitch, it didn't move. I made one more pitch on it and just kind of allowed the bait to swing slowly as possible, because I was using a quarter inch lure. I mean, a quarter weight, quarter ounce lure. And it sat right on top of his head, and I saw it, the fin start moving, and it looked up at it. And man, the rest was, it's just like somebody tied a brick to my line, and just snatched down on it. And I knew when I set the hook on it, a 1/0 hook, so I had a pretty good hook on it. And I mean, when it came up to the surface shaking, I was like, oh my Lord, prayers went up.
Yeah. Hey, I tell everybody that there ain't no when the 3-pounder surfaces,
No
there ain't
question.
no questions.
No
There,
question. No,
there ain't
no
no
question.
question. That's a
No,
special fish.
no. I've had 3 pinned, 3-pound fish pinned, and I never could seal the deal. Those fish are very intelligent. To make it to 3 pounds,
Oh yeah.
those fish they're very intelligent. So they move differently than a 2-pound fish. They have some maneuvers about them. They know where, bushes are, limbs are. And some people might not buy that, but I've seen it too many times. Those fish are very intelligent.
Without a doubt.
So, but when it broke surface, I knew I call her Bertha. I said, that's Bertha. Now that is Bertha.
Yeah.
It was early in the morning. I didn't have a net out or anything, so
Wow.
I was like, oh my goodness, it caught me. It caught me off guard, but I saw that had a good hook on it, so I bent down and picked it up, and I knew it was a 3-pound fish for sure. So
yeah, you're ruined now though. You're gonna catch those 2s and 2.5s and be like, yeah, okay, it's a good one, but okay.
Well, I tell you, I think I'm primed for another 3. It seems like once you get over that hump, I would imagine it not to be too long before I stick another 3. Part of it is making sense of what a 3-pound fish looks like on that scope. So sometimes you look at a fish and that's a 2.5, 2 and 2, 225. But a 3-pound fish, he has a little different look to him. And so now that I understand what he looks like, I can kind of target him a little bit better.
Right.
Yeah. So are you running Gorman Livescope?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. What head unit are you running?
I run a 1022.
1022. Okay. You like it? Is that touchscreen?
I do. No, it's just
No
a basic
touchscreen.
mapping unit. But I have it adjusted about as good as you can adjust him. And so it's a really good picture now. I did some tweaking. It took a while to, you make adjustments and you fine tune this and play with that. And I think I kind of got it to where I can see just about everything I need to see.
Right.
That wasn't always the case, but I do have it adjusted pretty good now.
Awesome. And that's another thing that you have to put time into is learning your units, because they help tremendously.
That's right. Yeah.
Man, again, I'm gonna say it again, man. Congratulations, man, because those fish are special. I know some guys that got 2 or 3 under their belts, and they just don't know how lucky they are. I've been fishing for another 3 for 3 years now, and I'm gonna tell you that those 2.5s and 2 3/4, and they come. You can just about get on those, yearly. But that 3-pound fish, man. Are you getting your fish mounted?
Yeah, the next day he was at the taxidermist.
Awesome.
The next day it was. I understood when I saw it. That was in the plan. So
yeah,
we put him on. We put him in a wet towel and bagged him.
right.
That night, and the next day we shot him straight to the taxidermist. So
Awesome. I can't wait to see your mount.
Who did you go with, taxidermist wise?
Man, his name is I can tell you. Let me pull it out of my phone. It's not
Ron
Bill
Kelly?
Monk. Ron Kelly. So I went.
Yep, that's
exactly
who did
right.
mine. Yep, he did mine. Beautiful work.
Where is he located?
He lives in Rockwall.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's won a lot of awards, state awards.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So what's the name of your guide service, and how if people want to get with you, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, the name of my guide service is 4HG Fishing Charters. The number 4, the letter H, and then G. It stands for His Glory. My hope is that my fishing service represents Christ. That is my focus. It's a ministry platform for me, and so I've established my business that way. It's founded that way. So it's 4HG Fishing Charters. They can reach me via email at 4hgfishingcharters@gmail.com, or they can call me directly at 214-926-1255. My email should be up probably here in the next, I would imagine within the next 3 weeks or so. It's already built. I just have to send it live. And that'll be 4hgfishingcharters.com. So, they have a few ways to reach me if somebody's interested in booking a trip.
Awesome. Well, I've watched you for several years, and I know you know how to fish. And that's what it takes to be a good guide, understanding what it takes to get on fish. And your personality, I've watched you, and your personality is awesome.
Thank you.
Very, very laid back, very professional, and that's just that's top notch, if you ask me.
Thank you. I appreciate that, SK.
Yeah, and like I told you before, congratulations on getting your guiding service up and going, and also congrats on this 3-pounder. Any of you other guys got any questions for Kyron? This is bluegill. I'm not for sure if you've met bluegill. LBG.
We never met.
Yeah.
No, how you doing, brother? You okay?
I'm doing good. What you say? I know you're doing good. You got that 3-pounder.
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Yeah.
Right. That's good, man. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, he fishes down south in the Houston area with on the lakes that I fish. So
okay.
And I've known him. He's another guy that's just awesome to know and to hang with. And
to everybody on the live, hey, appreciate y'all looking at the video and all that kind of stuff. I can't comment right now because I'm having some difficulties with my laptop and my email. So appreciate it. Hey man, I'm gonna come and get on that guide service with you then. Steve gonna hang me anyway, because I gotta get up there and fish with Steve too.
Yeah, I need to get on them Shellcrackers. I never fished for him before.
For real?
Oh man, it's life changing.
Never. Yeah.
Life changing.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Well, Kyron, me and you didn't talk about how long you want to stay on. Hey, you're more than welcome to stay on as long as you want. I really appreciate you coming on. And there were some topics that we were going to discuss. How do you take care of if you don't mind, how do you take care of your trailer? Do you have a scheduled maintenance plan that you go by? I know you do a lot of traveling, fishing those different lakes. So how do you keep your trailer serviced?
Yeah, so I do Rockwall Trailer and Hitch is who I go through. They've been incredible. So I generally do it every 25,000 miles. Okay. As far as getting my trailer maintenance. I mean, I could go probably 35, but I can't afford to be down. So they even recommend that I do it every 35, but I feel more comfortable just overkill. Just let me service it. So every 25,000 miles, I have them to come in and service my trailer, whether it be replacing the bearings or or if not, just servicing, just greasing the bearings, lubricating the bearings, repacking the bearings, things like that. I'm always checking my tires. Very important. Any given day. Right now, there's a lot of construction going on all over Texas, which means that there are a lot of nails all over Texas, and tacks and tire puncturing objects all over Texas.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take a lot, to put you flat and really put you on, behind schedule. So always check your tires. Always check your truck tires. Check your trailer tires.
Yeah.
Always check your brakes and just make sure everything is sound there. But that's about the extent of what I do with my trailer itself. I do a lot of maintenance on my boat. That's the heartbeat of my operation. So it's important that I do those things. But as far as my trailer, that's what I do.
Okay.
Check
What boat are you running?
I run a Lund Explorer 1825. So it's 18 foot and a quarter. It's powered by a Mercury Verado 150. Has a capacity of 6 people. I won't ever put that many people on it.
That's a selling point.
Right. Right. Yeah, that is that's overkill. But I do, from time to time I've run 4-man trips. That's a bit tight. It's easier to do that on a gill trip, but for crappie tripping, that's a lot going on a boat. Yeah. So I'm currently in the market for a bigger rig though. My wife talked me into getting a bigger boat. So
that's always a good problem right there.
Yeah. What did you say?
Tell your wife to call my wife. I need to get
Yeah, she did. She told me I need to get a bigger boat, and I need to. One in particular. So tournament fishing is sometimes in those tournaments, man, you can run 120 miles one way. I mean, 2 ways. So 60 miles going, 60 miles coming back, 65 miles. I think in Branson, some guys were running 140 miles, in a day. So, I have a smaller tank on my boat. It's like 34 gallon. And so I need to be able to make long runs and not worry about if I'm going to, run on fumes, So a bigger boat means a bigger gas tank. I need to get a bigger gas tank and probably a little bit more power to make those runs. So that's really the biggest driver for it. It's the tournament side of it is why we kind of looked at doing something bigger.
Yeah,
cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm
looking
what
at
type of boat you think you're gonna buy? Have you decided?
It's still going. It'll still be DV. I mean, I won't move from that.
Right.
It has to be functional for kids.
Right.
For elderly. And I had this is a testimony. I got some encouragement yesterday. I had a 93-year-old man on a trip yesterday with me.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
93, man. I was just so inspired, observing him. I mean, he was still very sharp, very witty. He moved a bit slower, but he got in the boat, kind of, scooted in the boat. But man, he was, he was on top of it.
Man.
But I need a rig that works for somebody like that. I've had, completely blind people on my boat. So you just have to be considerate of more than just myself. And so, it's going to have to be a deep V boat. I need to know that people are going to get back home.
Right.
Man. The blind thing. I never thought of that before. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That thump. Everyone wants to feel that thump, though.
Want that thump?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Man, you listen. You don't have to see it. You can see it, feel it.
Exactly.
That's true. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Man.
That's
What do you think about Livescope since you had it?
Is that question for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll give you the honest, phenomenal technology, unreal. Technology, just the ability to see all that you can see underneath the water. It's unreal, I do think it's going to require temperance and self-control as we move forward, because it really makes the fish vulnerable, particularly the big fish. Some of these fisheries, you can't harm them. Some of these fisheries, you absolutely can. Some of these smaller fisheries, i.e. up in Oklahoma, you got those really small compounds, man. And you take 10, 20, 30 guys every day out there chasing for what's in there, you're going to really harm that population.
Right.
Yeah. So some lakes, they fish small. Lake of the Pines, fish is small in the wintertime, and everything kind of concentrates on that channel. So even though you have more leg than that, but as far as fishable leg, it's really small.
Right.
So we as anglers with that technology, we have to be very responsible. Because it's nothing now for a person who's cavalier to go out and catch 75 fish, 100 fish, 150 fish,
Right.
So it's just, it's great technology.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to advance anymore. I think that's enough,
Right.
but I suspect that AquaView, is probably going to be on a pole someday, because AquaView is really a camera. I suspect that we're trending that way, and that's too much.
Yeah,
that's too much. That's too much.
That's where it all started from, the AquaView. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was the first camera underwater, so that's where all the Livescope coming from. So,
Yeah,
it's true. But that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I have several people that don't want me to go, but like I was saying earlier, I want to get in these bigger tournaments. Plus, when I decide to stop doing physical work on a job, man, I love my job, but it's not what I want to do. But when I do start guiding, I'm going to need that technology to ensure putting folks on fish.
right.
And I have several people that I'm not sure. Let me ask you this: do you have any people that ask to do traditional unit fishing, side imaging, 2D, down imaging, or are they all on board with Livescope?
Yeah, well, so some people don't care. I mean, it's just really what you use is not an item to them. They just want to catch fish.
Right.
What I do, I go traditional sometimes on purpose, because what I find sometimes people get so focused on the screen, I can't see my bait, I can't see my this, I can't see my. And really, you don't have to. It's just I don't want to disable anybody.
Right.
Because the day may be coming where Livescope is banned, and so now what do? I'm not dependent on that thing. I can cut it off. And I do cut it off many times just to stay in touch with how it all began, for me, sonar, 2D. I love using 2D. I mean, it's not Livescope, but I can see fish in live time. I can see them come up and hit that thing. I can see them, look at my jig and swim back down. I mean, so in a sense, I still have an essence of Livescope. I don't have the full live imaging view, but still I do have it. Yeah. So there are times I turn it off, and I've done that. I said, listen, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn this Livescope off. I'm gonna turn this off. The brush pile is right here, or this is right here. All right. They're stacked up. You don't even have to see it. I just, measure out 12 foot, measure out 14 foot, measure out 5 foot, and let's just fish, man. Let's just fish.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what me and Bluegill talk about a lot. That if I did get it, I'd probably do an equal amount of trips with it at home, just to stay sharp on. Because I've heard, not from the horse's mouth, but a good reliable source that Livescope has or is being looked at, and I don't see how they could ban it. But man, there are so many people with live technology right now that it is unreal. One of the thoughts that I had is that was why Humminbird was dragging their feet on their Mega Live, was because they may have more intel on some type of ban or restrictions coming on live technology. And it is an awesome tool. I mean, it's an awesome tool to see those fish react or turning away from your bait. No, that tells you that downsizing, changing color, making some kind of change, action is required to entice those fish into come into that jig. It's awesome technology. Just getting it at the right depth, to where you're not below the fish or you're not too far above it. It's unbelievable.
And then there I'll say this. I mean, there are levels to live scoping. Everybody that has a live scope is not the same level of live scoping. There are things that most live scopers will never see with the live scope. Like they haven't trained their eye to know what they're looking at. I mean, so they can see the obvious, but the things that aren't obvious, when that fish is tucked away, or just a subtlety of its color shift, just things that you wouldn't just know to see. So there are a lot of, there are a lot of things that the more you look at it, but it's the same way we're looking at side scan, down scan, right? So knowing there are things, if you don't know what you're looking at on down scan, you could be looking at a school of fish, or you could be looking at fish running the bottom and not even know.
That's right. Yep.
You might think those are little rocks or pebbles across the bottom, but those are fish. So it's the same thing with Livescope. Just being able to know and interpret what it is that you're seeing, that thing. But there are a lot of times I just go to a fertile area and I don't fish. I just turn the Livescope on and observe fish behavior.
Right.
Like I want to see what it is that's dry. So my idea is always to figure out what's driving the fish to be here, not just them being here. Some people just run based on history, but history changes year to year, and so that's what, man, they're just not here yet. They're just not biting. They're just not, because you're relying on history. But if you can make sense of why the fish are doing what they do, then you can be around the fish a lot more consistently. What's driving the fish to be there right now? So I just like to sit and watch them, and I'll sit hours with that thing, just scanning or panning with it, just observing. And it's interesting how much fish move at certain times of the year, kind of like the circular motion. So for that, it's almost, I like it for that reason. I just can observe fish behavior. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Did you see that comment? Can you see that comment right there?
I see it. Yes, sir. Oh man, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Who's that? Two Stands Fishing? Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something, Kyron. I knew you would bring awesome info to this live, and I talked to Steve 2 or 3 weeks ago about you, and I was like, man, Kyron, I know if he comes on, he would be awesome.
Yeah.
And you've proved it. Every topic we've talked about, you're directly on point. Awesome info.
Thank you. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate the opportunity for being on here.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep.
Yeah, I told Guns, I said, man, listen, y'all talk about crappie fishing. I love to talk about crappie fishing.
Yep.
I do.
We come on at 9, and I've been trying to get this thing down to an hour and a half, and every time it's 11 or later, and it goes by. I mean, just snap of a finger, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, and that's just the love of crappie fishing.
Yeah,
it's a awesome sport.
Yeah, my thing is there's millions of great fishermen out there, but how many really truly believe in God and the Lord? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's to the next level when you think about it.
Yeah.
He put you in certain places in life and you just think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got a question right here that I'd like for Bluegill to answer. Because he is one guy that I know that is just awesome on bluegill and chanky pin, as he calls them.
Chanky pin.
That's country. That's country.
On the boot. Basically, I look at the land, the bottom. You could tell by the color of the dirt on the banks. That red clay, sometimes they're gonna spawn. You can see them beds. Just looking at it. Just backing up and look, you can see it. It comes from I've been fishing for them so long. That's why I named myself that, because I was just at them so hard. I could pinpoint them like it's nothing. It just come natural to me. But I've been doing it so long, you see spots and you're like, they gotta be right there. Gotta be there. But if you're fishing off the bank, depending on what lake you're on, you look at the structure, the depth of the bank, because if it's darker water on that bank, 9 out of 10 they could be there because it's got a little depth to it. Now, if you start seeing a lot more sand and all that, you kind of running too shallow. Kind of bag up a little bit off it, about 3 or 4 feet off that shallow stuff. You can find them bluegill easy. It's like knocking blackbirds out of a tree. It's easy. It's real easy. But you know, it's like you have to be out there with me. And I can show you how to do it. It's simple. It's a simple task.
One thing that I sort of look for, and I that the bluegill videos that I've done, I try to explain it because there's still a lot of people that don't even have side imaging. And
Right.
like bluegill said, man, paying attention to stick ups,
Yep.
lily pads, any type of vegetation, overhanging trees,
Let me
stumps.
let me stop you right there, SK. I'm gonna interrupt for a minute. You said the main thing for chankapin and red ear, lily pads is a key. They love
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Chankapin. Now bluegill love them too, but you're gonna catch most of your red ear on the lily pads and on sandy embankment. They love the sand. They love it. So you can find
Yep.
them lily pads. You can drop a small crawfish or whatever down between them lily pads. They love them. That's
Now
what they love to hang out one of them lily
l-
pads.
let me inform everybody what we're talking about with Chanky Pen is there's 3 or 4 names that I know. Chanky Pen, Shellcracker, Red Ear are the exact same fish. Just so
Exactly.
that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to cut you off, Bluegill, but I just wanted
No,
to
you
make
good.
sure
I ain't cut
everybody
you
was
off. Go
with
ahead,
us.
finish. But yeah, they love sandy bottoms. Real sandy
Yeah,
bottoms. You can find good sandy bottoms. You'll find most of your chankapin there. Bluegill, they kind of tend to that like little kind of muddy, kind of I ain't
clay,
say
sort of clay.
smooth.
I've seen them in a little bit of
Yeah,
clay mix.
yeah. But that sandy, oh man, I'm chankapin. You can catch them all day long on flats. I'm talking about just it ain't gotta have no depth to it, just flat, about 4 or 5 foot flat, hot, 90-some degrees. You'll kill them. You'll kill them all day long. I can take you out to Caney Lake in Louisiana, and another lake called Grand Bayou in Louisiana. Caney has the 2 pounders. Chankapin, red ear, they have those. You got to net those, just like you net white perch. They have them. So,
That's
but
awesome.
anyway, go ahead, finish. I'll let you finish up.
You know, I mentioned stumps a while ago.
That too.
There's a few places that we fish, and the best area is on a little hill out from the bank. You know, you get close to the bank, it's deeper water close to the bank. But out there near that stump is like a little knoll, sandy knoll, and it has a stump that's usually always visible.
Mm-hmm.
And those fish, red ear, uh, copper nose, and the bluegill, those big old sunnies,
Yeah.
they all love that stump.
Yeah.
And and then you can find spots like that with your naked eye. I mean, it's visible.
Yeah.
But like we all have been saying, time on the water is required
Oh
to
yeah.
find areas like that, testing, and moving. All is required to be successful.
So that's like me, you know. You be like saying, you tell me, I'm gonna check them bluegill out. I'm ready to go check it. I done caught so many of them. It's like I can wait. I'm gonna stay on them white perch. So what you know what I'm saying? Once it get
Well,
by the middle of May, I start messing with them bluegill then.
yeah,
You
well,
know.
I want to go hit the crappie and then hit the bluegill or the
That
shellcracker.
that too. That too. That too. That too. So
So, Kyron, do on your guided trips, do you mostly use jigs or live bait? What's your preference on, or do you just let the client dictate that?
Yeah, I do. I let the clients dictate it. I mean, this time of year, I mean, there's no need for live bait. I mean, those fish are not re- reacting to your bait because they're hungry, and they're just being protected.
Right.
So, anything that imposes, I'm in really skinny water right now, 18 inches and less. So anything that looks like it's going bother that nest, I mean, they're gonna swat at it. So right now I don't need it, but there are times, summertime when it gets really hot,
Mm-hmm.
I may bring live bait for the client. Just really assessing. If I have kids, I'll bring live bait. Um, So it just I try to keep some minnows on hand at certain times of the year, but fall time I don't need minnows. Winter time I don't need minnows, and one you don't want to touch minnow water in that freezing weather.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah, good luck with that, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
But in the summertime, when I'm not, but I'm running mostly gills in the summertime. But if I do get a crappie trip in, then I'll put some minnows out there.
Yeah. Do you bed fish for your bluegill, or do you fish deep for 'em?
Both.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah, I fish deep for them, and then I fish beds as well.
Yeah.
Obviously in the spawn, I mean they're on beds, but
Right.
there are quite a few of them out deep as well.
Exactly.
Some big ones out deep.
Yep.
If you can start identifying those places that they like to relate to, you do pretty
Yeah.
good out deep.
So I had a question right here. Let me put this one up first. Would you rather a short rod? Now this question is wide open because we don't know if he's talking about for vertical jigging, casting, crappie fishing, bluegill, red ear. Give us a little more detail. We'll try to help you out on it. Me myself, I'm a long rod guy. I almost have. Only time I'll use a short rod is if I'm bank fishing and casting is the only time, and I'm gonna stick with 7 or 8 foot rods even then. Anybody want to chime in on that topic?
That's me. I've been always a long rod person. Coming from
Yeah.
a small younger guy, cane poles. They were 10, 11, 12 foot long.
Mm-hmm.
So went from cane poles to the brim busters. Brim busters 11 foot long, 12 foot long. Then after a while you get your jig pole. So I always been a long rod guy. Me myself. In the trees, open water, it doesn't matter. Long poles all day long for me.
Yeah. So another question here is asking about what line we use. Myself, I'm a braid guy, but I do use a mono leader.
Me too.
Steve, you want to step in on that one?
Braid, no leader. Yeah, I don't. I try to keep it simple. More stuff you have to do on the water. Now you have to take more stuff. So I try to keep it simple. You know what I mean? Yep.
How about you, Kyrie? Are you braid or?
Yeah, I use both. I have so for me it really boils down to what experience I want to have on the water that day. So braid gives you a different bite registry. Mono gives you a different bite registry, and fluorocarbon gives you a different bite registry. So it's like, what card I want to drive today. That speaks to what rod I use. What I've learned is sometimes you have to fish that are 35 foot away, 40 foot away. So I'm pitching the fish 40 foot away sometimes, and I'll pull out a short rod. If they're super skittish, I'll pull out fluorocarbon. So it just depends on any given day, kind of what I want. Here of late, I've been on this super. It's like a hybrid line. It's like a fluoro mono mix, and it's really good. So it gives that stretch, not so much stretch, but it kind of exaggerates the fight. And I value the experience. It's not just about catching the fish, but it's about everything associated with that fish. The way he pulls, the way he runs. I'm not trying to whip him in the air in 2 seconds. I want to experience that fish, man. I love the fish. So again, it really boils down. When I'm gill fishing, we're running mono. I'm not braiding on gills. So it just depends on what I'm after any given day. So I go between 3: braid, mono, fluoro.
Yeah, that's that answer there sort of explains my jig color. I get questioned so many times about jig colors, and it just depends on what the fish tell me. And what I mean by tell me, when they bite something, I say, hey, they're liking it. They can see it. They want to eat it.
Correct.
What's your take on jig colors, Kyrie?
Mine?
Yes, sir.
So the best color is the one that you're confident in. I say that, and I say that sincerely. I think color matters most of the time more to us than it does to the fish. Most of the time. Now there are times where the color selection is vital. You have to have the right color. Just from a visibility standpoint, I think that's more so what shade of gray is showing up down there. You know, what is it that they're seeing down there? But that being said, the color speaks to how long you'll fish a jig, how confidently you'll fish a jig, if you'll hold it in the pocket 5 seconds longer, 10 seconds longer. Because if you have something on your line that you're confident in, you'll probably fish it a bit longer. And when fish are inactive, sometimes it takes that additional 5-10 seconds to get them to go. So if you're not confident in it, you won't give it that. I see it. You know, let me take this off. Let me put that on. It's not even that. It's just the fish like the color. They just have a different behavior right now. So I think it's really the best color is what you're confident in for the most part. And then outside of that, you know, when color does matter, then just making sense of, you know, what it is that they can see. If they can see it, if they can see it, I mean, that's really it. So
I totally agree.
Yeah, I think more so. I think for me, it's more so rate of fall. Is more so the profile of the bait. I think it's more so the action on the bait. Sometimes it may be the sound, you know, what appeals to the lateral lines of the fish, you know. So it's more than color. I think it's other variables that speak more to why he will or why he won't, you know. But, you know, there are those few times where color is a factor, but it's not as often as people think. That's my honest opinion.
Yeah. I'm a big, I put size and color together because if I'm not getting bit, one of those are wrong, or it could be action, or it could be location. Man, there's several things that go in, but I'm really quick. You can ask Bluegill. If I have a rough trip, I have 30 jigs laying up there on the floor of my boat. I'm serious. I'm a fanatic. I see this guy's asking this question right here. There's been times that I'll think a color will look good, and I always drop that jig, you know, 2 or 3 inches below the surface, and I'm looking in that water to see what I can see. And sometimes I'll tie a jig on thinking that that color is going to be what's going to, you know, pop on that water. And before I even drop it down there, I'll cut it off and tie something else on. So it just depends, like you were saying a while ago, it's the circumstance at hand at that present time that makes me do certain things. And I have several guys that get upset with me when I don't tell, well, try this color and that color water, try that. But I will say that a lot of times matching the watercolor helps me get bit, and a lot of times going against the watercolor gets me bit. So those are just a couple things that I will give that sort of tells you about the colors and why I select them. But a certain color is hard to give because it really depends on color and size. It depends on the fish.
Right. That's the purpose of having four or 5 rods in the boat. So if you got that color that you're confident in, you're gonna keep that jig on that pole. The other 3, you might cut off and change during the day between here and there. So, you know, that helps out right there too. You might get to hit them on one color and say, let me try my favorite color again, my confidence color, throw it back out there. They might be on with it then. So, you know, that's just me. You know, I keep my favorite color most of the time on my pole. The other 3 or 4, I might change out during the day. But I'm gonna keep my confidence color on. I'm gonna keep it tied on all day long. I'm gonna try it. So.
Right, exactly.
Sometimes I need 8 or 10 rods.
See, I don't change colors a lot. I'll change them once in a while, but I have confidence in certain ones, and I know they will work. If I keep changing, I'm wasting a lot of time. And, you know, I've probably 3 colors, and I'll go anywhere, and I'm confident with them 3, and that's the only 3 I can have in my boat. And I will try to make that fish bite one of them, and usually they will. You just have to be more, you know what I mean? It might take 10 seconds longer, but my thing is, as soon as that fish starts kind of shaken when he sees that jig. From that point on, I think you're more in control than that fish once he sees that bait. So if he doesn't see it, then, you know, the fish is more in control. But once that fish starts moving and them gills stop moving, it's over. I'm in charge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like sometimes I like it, and I'll take that jig away from the fish because I don't even want to catch them. I just want to see the reaction.
Right.
Yep. And like the last 3 trips I've made, I've fished all open water. I haven't went to one structure. And that's a part of my game that I want to get better at. And I'll fish all day open water and just to get better at it. The next thing is going to be just casting. 3-4 trips in a row. Just casting.
Yeah.
And I've seen the guys on the tournament trail, and they are smoking them casting. Yep. And you have to be versatile in every game to be successful. So,
And that's something that I've, because most conversations about color, there's guys that have Livescope that give the responses like both of you. I mean, at times color matters, but more than likely it's more profile. And I totally agree with that if you have Livescope, because you're getting that jig in a tighter area in reference to that fish. So him being able to see it is very likely.
Right.
But if you're using 2D and or down imaging and can't tell that you have your bait inches from that fish, sometimes you're having to draw them 2 or 3 feet.
Right.
So just like with bluegill, the video he put out today, that gold dust was right beside the school bus, that black and yellow. And, 95% of his fish come on that gold dust. And it's more of a visibility thing the farther distance away that you are from the fish. So you may be having to draw that fish in from a farther distance. And I think that's why I feel right now without Livescope that color is very important. I went to Joe Pool yesterday evening, and I fished. I had that golden pearl tad fry on, and I fished 3 or 4 poles, not a peck. And I took that off and put a shad pattern on. Exact same bait, but it was the black and silver bottom. Went back to that first pole, dropped down, caught 3 fish. Went to the second pole, caught 3 or 4 fish. And this is the exact same profile, just a different color. And fishing the same depths, same action. So at times, like we were saying a while ago, there will be those times where you need to learn to tie fast.
Right.
To change. Now, Livescope has changed a lot of my belief in crappie fishing, and it's a lot of that has to do with being able to get that bait close or closer to the fish.
Yes.
And that's the big difference in comments from somebody that has Livescope versus somebody that doesn't.
And another thing I learned is them fish move a lot. You just look on Livescope and you might drop there. 30 seconds later, you drop it. That fish wasn't there.
Yeah.
And he appeared now.
Yep. I agree.
That's exactly right. And that was when I was making mention how much they move. I've set in a kind of like a circle, a square of trees, kind of in the middle of it. I was in the middle, and I observed a school of crappie, probably a school of 8 to 10 fish, just move from one tree to the next tree, and they were chasing shad around, and they ended back where they started.
Yep.
And it took them a while to kind of come back around, make full square, but I just kind of observed them, just paying, watching them come around, and maybe 15, 20 minutes later, they're back where they started. So they move a ton. I will tell you, when it comes down, so prior to live scoping, one thing that really increased my catching was having a variety of cadences. And that speaks to the technique of the jig. So not necessarily the color, but the technique of the jig, having a cadence, because the word reaction is exactly that. Depending on what you do, how fast you drop it, how slow you drop it, you can trigger that fish to do something. You can provoke him into doing something. It's almost as if somebody jumps at you unaware. You get a reaction. Sometimes it screams, sometimes it jumps back. And it's the same thing with a fish. So, there are times if I drop it down on that fish, and I took a good buddy of mine out to show him, these fish were really lethargic. But what I would do is I realized how they were responding. So I'd place the jig about a foot above them, and I'd fast strip and let it fall right on his head and just sit. And if I did that, it would startle them to the fact, and they would hit it. I mean, one after the other, if I would do that. If I didn't do that, if I just lowered it down and jigged it, they would never hit it. But if I would create a reaction, kind of like pitching it past them, sometimes pitching it past that fish, it looks more natural. So if you can understand what's happening, I'm observing, are the shad swimming vertical on the column, or are they circling the column? Because that speaks to how I fish. If they're swimming vertical, because those crappie, to the color thing, they feed on shad year round. They feed on ghost minnows year round. They don't have a lot of color. So whether it be stained water, clear water, whatever the water is, current water, man, they feed on those things. And so to that, but I think it's really more so making sense of what the bait fish is doing and then mimicking that. So whether I'm sweeping it in a circular motion, or if I'm sweeping it up and down, relative to how the school of shad move, I find that gets me a lot more response from the fish, if that's of any benefit.
Yep. Action means a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. It does.
Without a doubt. I think the word jigging needs to be taken away from how you work a jig. Because there's been several times that I'll be out on the lake, and like you see on some of those ice fishing videos, and that rod never stops. That guy's sitting there for 20 minutes, and that rod is he's just constantly. But and there's nothing wrong with that action like that, but at least give it a pause. And a lot of times you can give that jig the craziest action. And when you pause it,
boom.
That's when you get that smack.
A different rhythm.
Exactly. It happens several times.
And then what I tell everyone is, you catch a fish, remember what you did.
Exactly. Yep.
That's good stuff.
And try to duplicate it. A lot of people catch a fish, and they don't even realize what they did.
Yeah.
Before I even drop it, I'm recording in my head what I did every step of the way.
Yeah.
And usually you can do that all day and it works. You have, and then for the next trip, you just remember, and you have your top 10 techniques. That's what I call it, and you go through your top 10 and usually one of them works.
Without it, let me answer this question right here that Danny put up. I would put a replacement tip on there and just deal with that. Those eyes being close like that, because the farther back you take the tip of your rod, the less action you'll be able to apply, in my opinion. So I think I have a couple rods that the two end eyes are fairly close, and I just replace the end tip. That's what I recommend.
What fishing rods do you use? Brand or lengths?
Is that a question, John?
Yeah. I was asking.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Length fishing rods you prefer, and what brands you think certain brands are better than the other that you use, or?
What brand you sell, Guns? Let me make sure I'm in good graces with you.
See how if you have an expensive taste We want to see how if you have a caviar taste, like G rods only, or you know what I mean.
No, man. I have a lot of rods. It's kind of the same thing with the line deal for me. A rod speaks to how I battle today,
Right.
and so I don't take the same weapon to battle. I have quite a few that I've battle tested and that I find to be faithful. So I do have G rods. I like it, but I have boneheads. I like it. I have St. Croix. I like them. I have Wally Marshalls. I like them a lot. I mean, I have rods that I really like. I got Fenwicks. So I have a variety of rods. I have ACCs. I like them a lot. I do. I like them a lot. So if I'm dock shooting, obviously I don't have, long rod. I'm 6 foot, 6.5 foot, maybe 7 at the max, and that kind of speaks to what I'm going to use. But yeah, I do have, I guess, is G rod, is that an expensive rod?
One of them, one expensive, yeah.
But it doesn't require that. It's a cool. I mean, that Torre carbon and graphene is a cool. It's a cool makeup. It's a cool blend. But
one rod you didn't mention.
Okay, don't get me in trouble, SK. I have B&Ms. I do. I have B&Ms.
Pro angler.
I have pro anglers. I have some. I like the B&M dock shooters. They call them sharpshooters, but I like them. And then it's I've been looking at the Huckabees. I actually went and held a few, and they're okay. I mean, so what I do is I support the sport. I like to I buy rods because I'm a fan of the sport. I'm a fan of guys who are trying to push the sport. And so that's my way of just saying, hey, brother, I value what you're doing, and I'll buy a rod. Obviously, I need to like the rod. I don't just buy it for the sake of saying I bought it. But all of those rods, man, have something, So, and when you quite honestly, when you put braid on a rod, I mean, they're going to all register.
Right.
I mean, so to say this one is sensitive and that's sensitive and this is more sensitive, man, braid will make a broomstick sensitive.
Right.
Because there's no stretch. It's going to register your bite. So, but that's I like them all, man. Well, I like the ones that I named. Now, what was your rod brand, Gus? Let me say it. What's the name?
Oh, I have probably 5, 6 brands, and everything has its purpose.
Yeah.
I don't like getting rid of stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of them last,
Yeah.
As long as you're careful, rods don't really break.
Yeah.
It's usually your fault.
Kyron, I know you know how I set the hook, man. I'm a nail driver, not a tack driver. I'm a nail driver. And them old Denali's, let me tell you, these are some new style Denali's, but I got those that I've been using a couple of years. And I'm gonna tell you, there is not a one eye that's lost a ring or anything. I mean, I've battled some big old catfish, and that's sort of how I gauge. Because if I spend $70, $80 on a rod, that thing got to put some years of service in for me because I'm a tight old boy. I squeak when I walk. And but several. It's like I said on the last show, man. A rod has one purpose, and that's for you to cast with, set the hook, and get the fish in. As long as you get that done, whatever makes you happy is a great rod.
There it is. Yep. That's it. I agree, 100%.
Yep. Hey, if y'all don't mind, before we get too late, I've been waiting really late we did a giveaway on the last live. Kyron, if you could hang on, let me get through this. I'd really appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay. We did. LBG had a G box giveaway, and the number that you needed, very first person that picked the number was 87. And I hadn't seen Dylan in here, but Dylan Fields won that box. And I couldn't think of a better person. Me and Bluegill talked about that. This guy had questions. He was just getting into crappie fishing on the last live, and he asked several questions on what he needed to get started. Well, right now he has a brand new G box. And to help him out, I'm going to give Bluegill a few hand ties for him to get started on. I'll probably give him some plastics also. So
yeah, I'll give him some plastics. We love,
awesome.
starting crappie fishing. Let's hook him up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
Yeah.
just started yesterday. Somebody help me out. I just started yesterday, but I need some hand ties and some plastics.
Yeah. And
now,
then we did a giveaway. Hey, Bluegill, thanks for the donation of the box, man. That was, and it's like I told you earlier, that couldn't have been a better person to win that box than Dylan. So hopefully he's here and can send his email to claim his box. The next giveaway was some carrots, Limits Tackle carrots, 10-pack. The number to pick was 61. The first person to get that was Kenny P. Kenny P. So if you would, Kenny, send me an email. And then we had the mix pack that Red River Rob actually won and had us put back in the pot. The number for that is 81. And Ford 2004-21 was the first person to pick 81.
cool.
And the last but the best giveaway was brought to you by Steve from Limits Tackle. You're getting a pack of turquoise and a pack of gold dust.
Man.
And the number on that was 18. And let me say, Danny picked the number first, but he included two other numbers in that same post. And the deal is one number per post. So the actual winner is Ronnie Harris. Ronnie Harris. Steve, would you want him to just contact you
It doesn't
on that?
matter. Yeah,
Okay,
just
either
contact
way.
me. Yeah. And
Okay.
I'll mail it out to him.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let me get to the right one.
Yeah.
What did I do with it?
I'm trying to get an email up, probably starting next week. So I'm gonna get it to you so you can post it up so they can send it directly to me.
Okay, and you can get with Limits Tackle on the Ronnie Harris. You can get with Limits Tackle on limits-tackle.com or on Facebook at Limits Tackle and message him. Or if you prefer, just send me an email and I'll forward your info to him.
We'll get them to him.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to look for some bait testers. I just want people that love to go fishing, and I'll send you free baits and just fish them, and give me actual feedback. You know what I mean? Because that's how the industry gets better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't go to every state and fish. I'll pick a person, maybe 5 states, and send them some baits and tell me what they think.
That's right.
So that's the only way we get better.
That's
from everyone out there giving feedback. That's what we do that's what the big CEOs do. You know what I mean? Yep. That's how Amazon got so big. They're getting feedback from customers. So we want to take it to the next level.
Tonight, since we have Kyron on, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on doing the giveaways, but we're going to try to do these weekly. So what I have here are some Tad fries, and we hadn't named these, but I've caught some really good crappie on them. And this isn't gold dust, so don't get your hopes up high, Bluegill. It's like gold dust, but it's not. This one, we I don't know what we want to call it, silver dust maybe, but they work good.
That's and I think we called it diamonds.
Diamond, that's it. That's it right there. Yeah, it was sparkly. Yeah. And also with bluegill season coming and red ear season coming, I know I've been telling y'all about that gold. And it has a few different colors of heads, all with blacktail. And there's also some 1-inch stingers in there. And I included a hook that's going to work great. You only have 2 of the shad patterns and 2 of the sort of chartreuse and white. So what we're going to do, let me put the start in here. We're going to do the same thing, 1 number per post. And I'm going to hit start right here. and we're gonna do both of these. I'll draw both numbers from the. We'll probably run it 2 minutes while we chat some more. So post. We got how many? 115 people in chat. So let me write down a number first. I'm skipping steps, y'all.
What's the most people we had on tonight? Number wise,
123, I
that's
believe.
pretty good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but we need to get to 150. Hey, I got some rods right here for 150. Once we hit 150, did I hit start? I ain't hit start yet. Let me go ahead and hit start. We can go ahead and chat. All right, there's your start. There's your start. All right. If we get y'all can help us get to 150 people in the chat, we got a 11-foot BGJP that will be in a giveaway just as we're doing these jigs right here.
I think the most we've had is 160-ish, 170.
At one time, and it wasn't very long.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, Kyron, you fish any curly tails?
What do you say, Guns? I'm sorry.
Do you fish any curly tails?
I do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I sure do.
I got a new mold. I'm gonna give you some curly tails next time I see you. I'll have them in my truck. So I'll do about 5 different colors. You can mess around with them.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those curly tails gonna be fire for sniping.
Yeah, this is it right here. It's a 1.75 inch, so 1 3/4 inches. It'll probably stretch, you know what I mean, in the water, but it's just a little curly tail. So I'll pour about 5 colors and give you I'll give you about 100 baits. You know what I mean? You can just mess around and.
Okay. Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, we'll see if they like them. I'm sure they will.
I got a question for you because this happened to me when I caught my big fish. Were you trembling?
No, I was praying.
Really?
I promise. I was praying. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, man. So kind of similar situation. I lost one. Wasn't last year. It's probably a couple of years ago. And that one was over 3.5 pounds. I mean, it was.
Wow.
It was an incredible fish. It was one for the ages, and so I got it to the surface, and it took off and wrapped around the limb, and I mean to tell you, I mean that it pulled. You could feel it pulling against that limb for a while. Then it just went static, nothing, So it pulled off. Yeah. And what's going through I'm like, Lord, please. I'm telling you, Lord, please. And I was serious. I meant it, Lord, please.
Yeah.
So, but I was trying to see how well I had him pegged. I got a glimpse at. I thought I had a pretty good hook in him, kind of in the tough part of his mouth. But yeah, no, I wasn't shaking at all. But I was prayerful, sure.
How many times did it surface? Did you get it on the first surface, or did it?
No, after the first surface, it took off like a bass.
Exactly.
It's almost. I was like, "Good God!" I mean, so I'm loosening the drag, I'm playing it, like those bass guys.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping.
I tell folks all the time, they come up pretty easy on that first round. I mean, they gonna fight coming up, but once they hit that surface and get and shoot back down, that's when the fight begins with those big fish.
Yeah, it was a different kind of strength. And a 3-pound fish is strong.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yep.
I mean to tell you, it is incredibly strong. So I think it was the third time it surfaced once, just kind of mouth open, it shot off. Yeah. And then it came up the second time, its fins broke the surface and it shot off again. But I didn't put a lot of pressure on it. And by the third time, it had lost a lot of its fight, enough for me to get down there. Because I was hoping it didn't jump while I was holding the line and the line go slack. But it kind of allowed me to just, grab it in the lips. So,
yeah. They are special, man. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't start recording on my fish until it was in the boat, and I mean, it was and the crazy thing is, it was during a tournament also
When you caught yours?
On Lake Houston, exactly. Yep.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I had already had 2 other fish that was over 2.5 pounds, and another one that was 2, 3 something. So then I topped it with that 3.04 or whatever it was.
Wow.
I showed up to that weigh in with my chest about 5 miles in front of me. Yeah, that was an awesome trip, man.
Yeah, I see.
Did you mount your fish?
I haven't yet.
You still have it?
I still have it. I'm gonna do a 2 fish mount. That's
okay.
I won't mount it until I get my second fish.
Okay.
And I've been fishing hard for it. Let me ask you a question. If you were to go out and target big fish, what type of structure would you mostly target?
Was that question to me?
Yes, sir. We can go take turns, but yes, for you right now. If you don't mind answering. If any question I put on the table, you can say, man, look, I'm not answering that. That's TMI. Anytime, trust me.
That's a secret. I can't tell you everything.
That's right.
Yeah, and you have to watch me because I do a lot of 52 fake outs too. you gotta watch me close.
That's part of the fishing game. That's part of the fishing game.
You gotta watch me close.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, in all seriousness, I mean, so it depends on the season. It really does. I mean, and it depends on the lake because every lake is not laid out the same. So you give me a season, just say, give me the credentials of that lake, and then I can probably better answer it.
Lake Fork tomorrow.
Lake Fork.
I already knew this what he was going to say.
Lake Fork tomorrow. So Lake Fork tomorrow. So I'll just be generic. On that lake, this is what I know. So a lot of the fish are coming off of spawn. There are a few fish still waiting to go into spawn.
Mm-hmm. I said that.
And those fish kind of hang out. So post spawn fish and fish staging to spawn hang out in the same areas. So right now I'm looking for cover that's adjacent to a cove, a spawning cove. I might be looking for cover that's on the edge of a channel. I might be looking for cover looking for edge trees. I'm making sense of the passage of the fish because really what you're trying to do is intercept them.
Right.
If I stand on the road that you walk down, I plan on seeing you someday.
Right.
Whether coming or going. So, I understand the passage, how they travel, and I get on the roadway.
Right.
And past that, and then I start walking down the roadway. I understand you're coming towards me. Somewhere I'm gonna run into you. Right, and that's what I do. So you have a sequence of fish. You have a group of fish that are still staging, getting ready to go up and push up to lay eggs. And actually, some of them will stage and spawn out deep. All of them don't push up. So, but those areas are generally the same. Post spawn and then staging females, they get in the same areas. And then you have some that will go real shallow. I mean, so I'll check shallow. I caught some really big spawning females, in 18, 24 inches of water, But if I'm looking for concentrations of them, those big fish, they're different than those smaller fish. They don't move the same. They don't set up the same. They're very nomadic and they're isolated. So if I'm around a huge pocket of fish, for the most part, I'm not around big ones. They kind of get out on their own, because they can hang out with a 6-pound bass, 8-pound bass, and not worry about being consumed. So his threat meter is a little bit different than a 1.5 pound crappie. He has a different threat meter. He's not threatened,
right?
Because he's big and bad himself, So I can look out in those areas. But that would be just some foundational things, regardless of, if I'm on fork tomorrow. That's what I'm doing.
Right. Okay. Good. Good info.
Yep.
Yep.
And
what
and
about
like he said, the way they travel, that's the number one thing I caught from what he just said. He's going to intercept them the way they travel.
Mhm.
Yep, exactly. And that's what you do. Creek channels, that's what them fish use them for,
Yep.
Yep.
And
You have
the
to
thing
get into
is,
that crappie's mind. You have to think of what that crappie's going to do, and you'll
Yep.
be more successful.
This time of year, fishing the shallows is cool, but like he is saying, and we've all talked about this before, those waters just out from those spawning areas is magic.
Yep.
Now I will say this: up until this year, I've been on some great, awesome, beautiful fish out there, 6 to 12 foot of water, just out from where they spawning at. But this year, although I'm seeing fish on 2D, I can't make them bite.
Time for
I'm
Livescope.
having, they try to push me that direction.
You need to do it. The longer
But
you wait,
now I
just
have
do
been
it.
getting on some.
Yep, just do it, and then it's over.
I have been getting on some very good fish, but it's all been short water.
Yep.
I went out. I did a 2-day trip, and that first day, I struggled. I mean, I fished areas that I've been just nailing these fish on, just out from that spawning area, in this structure, 8 to 14, 15 feet of water. And the fish didn't go nowhere, but they didn't want nothing to do with a jig, and I'm talking about every size I had, most of the colors I had. I could not entice a fish to bite until I went shallow. But bluegill, talk to me.
Hey,
Me and bluegill. Hey, let me say this first. Let me say this first before you respond. Me and bluegill has reversed roles this spawning season because he's been a guy that has been beating the banks for years, and his shallow bite is as slow as my deep bite.
right.
I've been catching some. I don't say I said that I hadn't been able to make the fish bite. I'm having fish 7 and 8 piles before I get 1 or 2 fish in the boat, which are really good fish, but that's way too much work for a nice box of fish. Having to move to 7 or 8 different piles. So bluegill, what's your way of fishing right now?
Well, it's deep water, but it's not really deep water. It's anywhere from I say 7 to 10, some 12. Which is deep, but it's compared to what the fish are doing this time of the year, spawning.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's thinking they on the bank. You know what I'm saying? Like Kieran was saying, they are off. Your bigger fish are gonna be off the bank. You know what I'm saying? You got post spawning fish and pre spawning fish at the same spot. One going out, one coming in. All fish are not gonna spawn at the same time and not in the same place. If that was the case, you just take a dip net and just dip them all up because they be stacked on top of each other. So, but like right now, like I say, my spots that I fish for shallow fish, they hadn't really been there. I caught some shallow, but so I bagged up, and I guess what? My fish was out a little bit deeper this year for some reason or another in my spot. So
Yeah.
I bagged up all my shallow spots and went a little bit deeper. And that's where I've been catching all my fish at.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve is fishing a way that if I get Livescope, I'd probably fish a year that way because that open water is a different animal, and it's why I'm gonna probably get Livescope anyway, but it's why I'm making the decision now to go ahead and get it to start sniping, as a lot of people call it, but just open water fishing. It's a lot of fun, and it's a world that I've never fished. Kyron, you got a question right here. Actually, you got 2. So if you want to, can you see that comment right there? wants to know what test line you were using when you caught that 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is that Leslie? Leslie.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, Leslie. I was using Power Pro on that particular catch. It was 2-pound diameter, 10-pound strength.
direct tie,
High vis yellow.
Yep.
direct tie.
Yeah,
Or,
direct tie had an improved clinch knot on it.
okay. And he also
Mhm.
asked what color jig, plastic or hand tie.
Yeah, this was this on fork. I don't. Yeah, this was a plastic. It was actually a beaver bottom bait. It's a 2-inch bait. And I had it on an orange. So it was a June bug chartreuse color.
Mhm.
I remember it like it was yesterday. June bug chartreuse had an orange head on it. Orange is a really good color on fork. Um, they like oranges, Tawakoni too. But yeah, it was June bug with an orange head, 1/0 hook, and that was a combo. It was a 1/4 ounce jig head.
Big jig.
1/4 ounce, yeah.
Profile.
Mm.
A lot of people use 1/4 ounce all the time. They don't even use anything lighter.
Yeah, it's good. 1/4 ounce is pretty.
Yep.
It'll get you down there fast.
Yep. Wait, you don't waste as much time.
Yeah, we had that question a while ago that I sort of passed over is when fishing deep, what weight jig? And I'm not sure if you've used a 5/16 Kyron, but man, let me tell you, I'm in love with it right now. This is my first time ever using a jig that big, that heavy, and the windy conditions we've been having here lately. That jig has been getting bit really well, and at times I'll have a little old 1.5 inch split tail bait on there, and those fish just love it.
Mm-hmm.
It looks awkward as all get out, but that big old cannonball head with a little old bitty bait behind it, they were hitting it really good.
That's probably the key to your bite, actually. That weird profile. It's more of
Exactly.
a curiosity bite.
Right. Yeah, this guy Eric put up that info that you put up would apply to a lot of lakes. It works really well on the lakes I'm fishing down here. Orange is not hot for me right now. It usually is. But Lake Houston has made several changes here lately. Water clarity and quality has greatly improved from them lowering the lake so much. Even though it muddies up like crazy when it rains, when it settles down, man, that lake is clearer now than I've ever seen it, and I've been fishing it for 20 years. But yeah,
Somebody else had who is that? Eric Pierce asked a question about.
Yeah.
What is that question?
Wouldn't that info apply anywhere and not just fork that you gave about the locations of the fish for right now?
Oh, so the principles are kind of similar.
Without a
I
doubt.
will say, like, Mustard, case in point, Cedar Creek is a lake that doesn't have much standing timber at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so really the way to fit Levant is similar. Levant doesn't have any defined river channels or creek channels. Everything is silted in. So right now, a lot of the fish are starting to show up in timber, but it's a later blooming lake because fish travel the break lines. So they migrate around the lake using break lines as opposed to the channels where they can kind of cut the distance, and cut the travel time. Well, they just travel the edges of the lake, following the shad around the edges of the lake. So if you can set up on the break lines, then you can intercept fish. So the idea of being able to make sense of how fish travel the lake and then set up an intercept point is true, but every lake doesn't fish the same just based on the topography of the lake. So you have to make sense of how that lake is laid out, and then you plan accordingly. So yes, there are some principles that are the same.
Yeah. My opinion about scent is that's something I wanted to ask you and I forgot all about. Even though this is a little different question, is were you using any scent when you caught your 3? No scent. Do you ever use scent?
Rarely.
Crappie
Oh,
nibbles or sprays or?
I use nibbles. I use the gulp maggots. I have a shad scent and an anise scent as well that I like to put on there. And then sometimes, listen, you guys will know about this. I do the old fashioned thing and just rub my jig on the fish that I
Yeah.
catch.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Works very well at
Yeah.
times.
It does.
And it's cost less
yeah.
money.
Yep, without a doubt.
Yep.
Hey,
You
I'll
can't
tell
get more
you,
natural than that.
I'm a firm believer in crappie nibbles too, though.
Yeah.
I won't go fishing without them.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all, we're out over 11 o'clock. This has been, in my opinion, the best live we've done, the most informative. And we've got some great runner-ups. Kyron, man, let me tell you, we got to have you back. And as you know, there's so much more to talk about. If you're willing, I'd really
Sure,
like
man.
to have you
Sure.
back on.
Sure thing.
Awesome
Enjoy it.
show tonight.
Yep. Good.
Really enjoyed it. But I'm not gonna hold. It's like I said, it's after 11 o'clock already, man. And look at this. Look who we have in the chat.
Aaron,
I believe
all
you know.
right.
Have you
Yep.
ever met Aaron Knight?
Is that for me?
Kyron, yeah. Have you ever met Aaron?
If I have, I don't recognize him by name.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, he's from
just,
Alabama.
yeah. But
Okay.
he's getting into the big tournament scene right now also.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just put him and his partner on my pro staff today. Real good guys.
Cool.
They fish Crappie
Oh,
Masters, American Crappie Trail. Yeah.
I missed this other comment right here. Hey, you got my number, man. Hit me up. You have to remind me. I'll have time next week to get them tied up for you. Let me know what colors you're wanting, and we'll get them up there to you.
No rush, man. Just have them ready by tomorrow.
But man, we've
they got
had
a
nothing.
tournament this weekend. Alabama Crappie Masters. That's
Okay.
going to be going on this weekend.
Cool.
Crappie Anglers of Texas has a tournament this weekend. So some good stuff
fishing?
going. No, I'm not. Next tournament, I'm not going to fish till September. American Crappie Trail is coming to Lake Fork.
Okay.
We've been waiting years for that thing. They'll be in Lake Fork in September.
Okay.
It's a one-day tournament.
Wow.
So that's going to be a big one. Over 100 teams are going to be fishing that. You know.
I'm gonna bring my little 9.9 up there.
And everyone knows American Crappie Trail. They give away a Ranger every tournament. You know, I mean that's a pretty good prize.
That's the one I need.
Yeah.
That's the one I need to go and win right there.
Ranger.
I love me a free boat.
Yep.
That's right.
So
Kyron, what tournament trail do you mostly fish?
So I was fishing Crappie Masters, and I fished a few cat tournaments. So the issue with me is my church schedule. That's always a priority. So, if I have to pick one, I'm gonna always pick my work in the Lord. And so I get to fish when I get to fish. So I was able to fish the Wilder Marshall Classic last year. And we qualified again for this year. So I'll certainly plan to fish it this year. But that's the only thing, man. I actually like the ACT trail. I do like it. It's a cool trail. They have an outstanding payout. But I just, it just really depends on what my availability is when it comes down to my ministry responsibility. So.
Right. Awesome. Hey, if you would drop your contact information again for your guide business. That way we can maybe we have some guys that want to get on a boat with you and grab some more of that knowledge that you've been dropping tonight. First-hand knowledge this go round.
That's right.
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah. So the name of my charter service is 4HG Fishing Charters, and that's the number 4HG, and that stands for His Glory Fishing Charters. You can contact me by phone at 214-926-1255. That is 926-1255. You know how I do those commercials. Or you can
Sound good to
reach
me.
me. But wait, there's more. You know how they do it, man. But if you order now, but you can reach me at 4hgfishingcharters@gmail.com. And also here in a few weeks, you can reach me 4hgfishingcharters.com. So my email will be 4hgfishingcharters.com.
Awesome. Awesome.
Cool. Appreciate it. Great night. Great information. We love sharing crappie, you know, information. That's number one. Yep.
Without a doubt.
Stuff, man.
Really enjoy it.
Trying to make it grow, you know, that's number one. And let's get them kids out fishing, you know. And number one, in my opinion, is being safe. Wear your life jackets. As soon as you get in that boat, put your life jackets on, you know what I mean?
And also service those trailers.
Yep. Trailers. Even your boat. Before you go in the water, just walk around your boat and just look. That's what I do. Before I leave the house, I'll circle my boat one time and just do a quick pass. Right. And it'll save you.
Yep. Well, guys, I want to thank each and every one of you. Big thanks to you, Kyron. I really do appreciate it. All you guys that's been with us tonight. Hopefully you gain as much as I did. And I'm going to tell you, every chance I get, I'm learning about crappie. And that's what it takes to consistently go out here and get better catching these fish.
Right.
That's right.
And as Kyron put out there, put that time in.
Yep.
Learn your lake.
Yep.
It's a big benefit in that. Just being able to go out and enjoy it and catch fish, and then that table fare that's awarded on successful catching trips is just unbeatable. Oh, you know what? Speaking of that, this is that seasoning that I was telling you guys about.
Oh, okay.
Saint Amad's, and let me turn it right. Less salt, more spice, and that is very true. If you on a low salt diet, and this is the Cajun. I mean, they're all Cajun, but this is this sort of spicy. I use this red can, and also they have a blue one, which is mild. Both are awesome seasonings, and it works really well on several different foods, vegetables, you name it. Baked, fried, it works really good. But this is that seasoning. Saint Amad's. So I'm not sponsored by this company. I'm just giving y'all a great seasoning to put on your fish or anything else.
Cool.
Where do you pick it up from?
My son actually got this batch. This sold in Louisiana. I did find a website, but it's like I said, they charging so much for it to order it that I advise everybody when you go to Louisiana, Appaloosas, I think. Yeah, Appaloosas, Louisiana. I'll even put that up. Oh, really? Specialty Seasonings. They're on Highway 167.
Say that where it's from again?
Appaloosas.
What you call Appaloosas? Huh? What do you call it? Chankapin? Chankapin, what do you call it? Appaloosas. Leave me alone when I talk bluegill, but and they also have a number right there too for you guys that want the number. I'm not for sure if they'll mail out, but hey, it's really worth trying that. It's some good stuff.
I imagine they will probably mail it out with all the stuff going on today. They probably would.
Yeah. Right. But I get a couple cases every chance I get, man. I mean, it's just I'm down to the last couple cans now. I won't throw it out, but I'm not gonna hold you guys. It's 11:15 right now. Kyron, buddy, hey man, we don't talk a lot.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah,
man. Hey, I really do appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely, SK brother. I appreciate it, Guns, man. Thank you for the invite, Gil. Bluegill, pleasure meeting you, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. You too, Kyle.
You guys have a wonderful night. I got to get up early and get to it. Got to grind on, right?
Yeah.
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 All right.
Hey,
All right,
y'all have a
Steve.
blessed night.
All right, you
We'll
too.
talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Sounds good.
Bluegill, Steve.
All right.
Hey, man, I really do appreciate it, y'all.
Yeah, it was good stuff,
Man, I
man. And,
appreciate
That was an awesome show.
it was
Awesome.
good. Yep, awesome.
Yes. I knew it would be. I
Yep.
knew it would be. He's a really down to earth guy and
Loves
got that
to share.
info.
Yep.
Yeah. Got that
He's on.
info.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Make sure these guys hit the thumbs up.
Yep. Y'all hit the
Yep.
thumbs up.
If you would.
Good
But I
night.
gotta
Good
SK
night.
got him some tea. Got him some
Hey,
tea. What you
yeah,
talking about,
look
South Outdoors?
Hey, look at
Oh, you talking about my drink? No, that's water. Roadhog said you'll fish off the front of a ship or something.
So where's
cargo
everyone
ship.
fishing
Hey,
this weekend?
If I can get some momentum on that cargo ship, we're gonna get the balance. It will move. What'd you say, Steve?
Where's everyone fishing this weekend?
I don't know if this wind gonna be bad again. Ain't no telling.
What determines it.
Yeah.
I got 3 lakes that it don't matter which one I go to, but I got 3 of them that's on the list.
Yeah.
Where you fishing?
I'm going somewhere. I don't care what it is. I got to get at least this weekend. I'm going to fish 2 days, 2 out of 3. I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I want to go to Lake Fork one day. I think we got another weekend,
So much
maybe
water.
2 for them big fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The spawn. I think we got maybe 2 weekends left.
2 weekends. I
Or
say
I want to go to Oklahoma.
First,
I'd like to make a trip to Fork and Oklahoma. That's my goal. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But
cool.
Yes, this guy South Outdoors fishes the Mississippi,
okay.
and I think that boat's it's just like Bluegill's boat, but I think it's I want to say it's a 12, but I think it may be a 10. And man, I see this guy out there, and the Mississippi got that current like you wouldn't believe.
You ain't gotta tell nobody, man.
And man, I'll be like, and he does a lot of catfish. He crappie fishes also, but he does a lot of catfishing. And he'll drop an anchor down there, 70 feet of water.
10-foot jumbo, he say.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it 10 foot? Okay, yeah, 10 foot. But he'll drop an anchor in 70 feet of water. And I'll be like, what?
Man.
But that's the Mississippi, man. I mean, it's
yeah. Well, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a night, man. I have to get up early. But I'll have some of them curly tails tomorrow, SK, when you come by.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what's up.
So you'll see them Thursday night, Bluegills. You have to pick them up on the way home.
Yeah, he got a few packages I got to give him.
I got to make an order for some jig heads too.
Okay.
And stuff. I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
Hey, you see, we made it over 100 thumbs up.
Oh,
this was the very first time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Glad I check out your channel. Awesome. I really do appreciate it too, Stan. Yeah. Leslie, let me tell you, he called that jig 5 different names in that video.
I did.
I did some gold dust, curly tails too. Yep.
Yeah, he called it everything but the name of the jig.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get out here, guys. I got to wake up at 4. So.
All right, Steve.
Take care, guys.
Hey, awesome show, y'all.
All right, take care.
All right, Killer. Let's go.
You was talking to Steve, wasn't you?
Yeah. All right, man. We holler at you tomorrow.
All right, later on, brother.
Later, bro.
All right, Leslie, we out of here, y'all. I really do appreciate all of you. We still got 72 people in the chat, man. I really, really do appreciate it. What I'm gonna start doing is a last minute giveaway. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this tonight. Right now, we got 72 people in the chat. Let me write down a number. And I'm gonna have to tie more. These are bluegill red air shellcracker jigs. I'm gonna have to tie some more because I need more for my box. It's that time. Let me put a start right here. Any of you that want to enter really, really quick to show my appreciation. There's a start. 1 through 71. Type as many numbers as you want. 1 number per post. And we'll get you in a giveaway on these jigs. We're gonna run this 1 minute. I didn't even look at the time. 1:19, so we'll go 11:19. We'll go 11:20 to show you guys my appreciation. That's what we're gonna do. And when I hit this stop, we're going to close it out, but we will definitely be back next week. Same time, same flavor. Y'all know how we do it. And hopefully we can get another, if we can't get Kyron back, we can probably get Aaron back, who's got so much more that we could talk about. Or we got a few other people that we're trying to get on to bring y'all some of this a different perspective of crappie fishing to help you catch more and bigger crappie. All right, guys, it's 11:20. I just put in stop right there. As I said a while ago, I really do appreciate all of you guys. If you would, if you haven't and you're still here and you did not hit that thumbs up, please do so, because that helps the channel grow. It helps with the algorithm and all that other stuff that YouTube got going on. Thank all of you. We'll see you next week.